AutoCAD LT now includes the ability to have transparent layers and objects. And line weights to objects and layers, you're in luck. Transparency works exactly the same way. One of those ways is to set transparency by layer. When you open the Layer Properties Manager in Model Space, you'll see a new column for transparency. Enter a value here between 0 and 90 to apply that level of transparency to all the objects on that layer. In a layout, you'll also see a column for viewport transparency. This is so the same layer can have different levels of transparency in different viewports or layouts. For example, I can fade the hatch layer in this viewport to 25%, leaving the other viewport at the global value of 70%. The blue shading indicates a viewport override to help you know what you've changed. Transparency is defined on a scale from 0 to 90, where 0 is solid, or no transparency, and 90 is the maximum possible amount of transparency. If it went all the way to 100, your object would be invisible, and that wouldn't be very useful. You can also set transparency for individual objects, the same way you can override color or line type. Transparency is available on the Properties panel of the Home tab, or on the Properties palette. If you want to reset an override, simply type by layer into the box. Before now, bitonal or two-toned raster images also had a setting called transparency that controlled whether their background was clear or opaque. This property has been renamed to background transparency to distinguish it from the new object and layer transparency property. You can apply both background and object transparencies to images. Transparency can affect both display and plotting. Transparency display is on by default, but to turn it off, you can use this button in the status bar. When plotting a drawing, a new checkbox enables you to turn transparency on. Notice that it is off by default. This is because transparency is rasterized for plotting and can slow down plotting in certain situations. Depending on your workflow, you can decide which setting will work best for you.